Hello, good morning everyone. Donna Lynn here. It is day 6 of 30 going live today. If you are catching me live, just say hi so I can say hi back and see you. And if you are on the replay, just type in hashtag replay in the comments or write in some comments as you watch the video, and I am happy to get back to you guys as well. So today's subject is, what are you thinking? And so stick with me through this. Have you ever taken the opportunity to evaluate your thoughts? And what I mean by that is, morning Jesse, what I mean by that is, have you taken time to look at the tone of your thoughts? Do you have a tendency to look to the negative, or do you have a tendency to shift yourself to the positive? So the reason I'm asking is because I know as humans, we have a tendency to have an easier time to see the negative things. It's like an innate thing in humans for some reason. And when we're not aware that that's a pattern that could be happening for us, we don't necessarily see it happening. And so sometimes we can be actually the barrier to allowing good to be flowing into our lives because of our thoughts. And so what happens is, like, the law of attraction and the law of the universe states that what you think about, you act out, and you think, you feel, you act, and that is what the world mirrors back to you. And that's what you see in the world, right? So if your thoughts are shifting to a negative tone or a lower vibration tone, just know that maybe take a look around, like it can be an opportunity to see what's going on for you in your world, and see if there's, see if you're looking at and seeing the joy in the world. Are you seeing the happiness and the abundance and the connectedness and the love and the beauty and, those silver linings, the shiny opportunities, the wealth, whatever it is? Are you seeing those things in the world, or are you seeing, the sadness and the suffering and the struggle and and I'm not saying those things don't exist. I'm not saying don't see those things. What I'm saying is our thoughts, how we think, the tone of our thoughts create our feelings, and that creates our actions, and that is what shows up for us in the outside world, and it's what we see. So the more you focus on joy and happiness and love and all of those a little bit higher vibration thoughts and feelings and actions, you're going to actually see more of that, and then you're going to bring more of that into your world. So like there's a tendency, I had a strong tendency in the past to think things like, oh, people are always just like that when shitty things happened, or like, oh yeah, I'm not lucky, or I'm not good at that. When I started to shift my thoughts to things like, people aren't always like that, this can be a one-off scenario, or people are mostly good and shitty things happen. Sometimes people are having a bad day, and not to justify bad behavior, but to shift the context of it, right? So I'm not looking for more negative experiences after that one that just happened. Or, if I'm not feeling like something is a strength of mine, like, oh, I'm not good at that, shifting that language to say, well, this isn't a strength of mine at the moment, but that doesn't mean, I'm working at it. I'm cultivating this skill. I'm learning. Something that shifts the language from I'm just no good at this to I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm developing this. And it's like this tiny little tweak in our inner narrative and the inner thoughts that shift our outlook and our perspective and our outside world, and actually what comes into our lives so much, like this comes up a lot with finances as well. Like, oh, I don't have enough money for that, I can't afford that type of thing. And well, that may be true. However, your language can shift to tell the universe that you're actually open to receiving more by saying something along the lines of, I'm open to the flow of the universe bringing me what I need to feel supported. So you can shift your narrative a little bit. But just curious if any of you guys have ever taken the opportunity to look at your thought patterns and your thought processes, and especially those thoughts that kind of repeat over and over. You know, a couple days ago I talked about my money story and the narrative around that, and that was my inner narrative running. And that inner narrative stems from the beliefs that we hold, that we subscribe to, that we believe to be true for our lives. And so the gift in looking at your thoughts and looking at your narrative and looking at your belief system is that you reserve, so yesterday I chatted about you reserve the right of the power of choice. You always reserve the power to choose. So if you take a look at that and tie it into today's subject, is your belief system. We'll use my money narrative just for an example, because I did a video on it a couple days ago, where my money narrative inside was something along the lines of, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work really hard to earn every little bit of money that flows into you, to your life. And so that narrative made it felt hard to earn money and not a lot of it, right? So that stemmed with a belief system that was inside for me. So the opportunity for me there is to look at that narrative and say, you know, like when bills come in or when I earn money, things like that, I have the opportunity to look at that narrative and say, see, money flows to me easily, and shift that belief. So I have the right to choose what my belief is. Is my belief still that money is hard to earn and come by? Or do I choose to change that belief and lean into a new narrative to support that belief? Okay, so you see where I'm going with the why your thoughts matter. What are you thinking? Because it all ties together and it all stems the root of our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. The root of that is really in our belief system, and our belief systems are simply the sort of inner laws that we function by in our day-to-day life that tell us what is right and what is wrong and what we can achieve and what we can't and what we desire and what we don't and why. And so when we have the opportunity to look at those thoughts and kind of trace them back to where they come from, we have the opportunity to say, okay, does this belief system still work for me? Is it serving me well? Is it supporting me? Is it taking me on my journey where I want to go? Or is it no longer serving me and I have the opportunity to shift it, adjust it, or release it? If it's really not serving you, ditch it. That's cool. You don't have to hang on to any beliefs that aren't supporting your vision of your future. So, or you can just make a tweak. Like if it's a little belief, you know, like I'll give you an example of a little belief, and it was that inner narrative that I was looking at one day that came to light. A situation surfaced, and something along the lines that ran through my mind of, well, you always should do the right thing and be the bigger person. And so with this particular situation, I had done that over and over and over, and each time I had done that in the past, over the last, like, I'll call it decade or so, every time I'd done that, it actually didn't serve me. The outcome wasn't it didn't feel the best. It didn't feel the most aligned. And it's because there was a limit of mine, a barrier, a boundary of mine that was being hit, that I was disrespecting within myself by continuing to be the bigger person without parameters, you know, like be the bigger person as long as it's not self-sacrificing or self-harming or self-sabotaging, right? It was be the bigger person no matter what. So I adjusted that belief to, yes, do the right thing, be the bigger person. And with that, it now has a limit where, you know, like it's okay to have a boundary and say, you know what, yes, I understand. However, this is my stopping point. So I had the opportunity to shift that belief. I didn't ditch it entirely because I do believe you should, for me, my belief is I believe you should do the right thing for you, you know, what means the right thing for you, and try to be a good person and be a good human and all those good things. So, but I was able to adjust that belief on the fly and shift the situation, and the outcome was actually different. The outcome for me felt better. It didn't feel like I was sacrificing my needs or my beliefs weren't tossed to the side out of consideration for someone else. So it was an opportunity to shift and adjust a belief system, and that came from evaluating the inner narrative, the thoughts, the actions, and the habits and the behaviors, right? So that's what came out of that. So, okay. So the other thing I wanted to touch on today, in regards to what are you thinking, what your thoughts are, looking at that inner narrative, tracing it back to those inner beliefs, is I was doing some online training yesterday with this new company that I'm partnered with, and one of the statements that Justin Prince said was, I think I wrote it down. I can't remember where it is now, but what did he say? It was something along the lines of, build your future from your future, not from your past. And that really hit me, because, you know, we think about where we want our lives to go. We think about our future. We think about the trajectory that we're on, and we think about where we want to be going. And are we creating that future from the space of becoming our future self, or are we trying to create a future that's out of our reach, so to speak, because we are not embodying and embracing who we are growing into? We are who we are right now. And that's why our life is what it is right now. And that's okay. That's a beautiful thing. If you're aspiring to go in another direction, or to build something different, make some changes, make some shifts, are you building that from who your future self is in that moment? Or are you building that from who you are right now? I hope that makes sense. So that really struck me, that really hit home when I was thinking about my future and who I am growing into, and where my life is going, and what I want to create and cultivate for me in my life. And yeah, it really struck me. So it's an opportunity for you as well, if you're interested in exploring that. Are you building the future, your future life, from a space of who you are right now? Or are you embracing and embodying the characteristics of that future self who has that future beautiful life? Okay, all ties back to that narrative and that belief system. So that's what I have for you today, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you guys kind of assess that inner narrative. Let me know if you are working on your thought patterns and your power of choice, or you know, if it's hard for you, or where you're at. Please share if you feel comfortable. I'd love to hear your stories, and I'd love to chat back and forth. So definitely say hi and hashtag replay if you're catching the replay, and I will chat with you all soon. Have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday.